to do with this. Right there, that one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's why I
okay.
gave you a
Yeah,
copy, so everybody
yeah,
sees it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
all that is,
Okay.
informational.
I will open the meeting
That's great.
with all members in attendance. And John, Laura, Marie, Jason Massey, and Stu,
Jamie,
and
Jamie,
Mrs. Snubs.
Jamie.
First thing on the agenda is to accept the minutes of October 18th, 2012. Has everybody read the minutes?
Yeah. Make a motion to accept them.
Motion
I second it.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, sign the commitments for November.
You have them.
Yeah, I have it right here. $122, $198.60. What's today's date?
15.
15th, right? 15th day.
Yep.
So the total commitments of the month are 122,100?
For that month, yes. We pumped about 9 million gallons of water.
9 million gallons for what month?
October,
October?
actually
November.
November, sorry about that.
November. That's your November bill
Yeah,
that you'll be paying.
During October.
Right.
So the water drawer was from what month, what date to what
So
date?
we read the last Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
So I don't have a calendar in front of me, I'm sorry.
So it's
It's
The
a
last
30
Wednesday.
days, yeah, it's usually, we're trying to get to a 30-day read.
how much, you have a table saying how much it was the previous month or the month before that, or?
Oh, yeah.
You signed it.
Yeah.
Why,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
what has it been running?
It's running about, 10 to 12 in the summer, and now it's backing down. We're using less water.
Okay. Right.
That's for the commitment, right? That's the proceeds taken in for one swap. We have, Mr. Patrick isn't here. I cannot pronounce that. Piazinski?
I think so.
Michael
He's,
Piazinski? Well, we got 5:15 now, it's not, we had him in for the, okay. I'll go to the last meeting, we had taken a vote for the Board of Water Commissioners to pay the mileage to the inspection department for the building inspector, the electric inspector, and the plumbing
The
inspector
only thing,
to be reimbursed for their mileage.
I have no problem with that, the only thing is, I think they should have some kind of a log sheet
They do.
that shows that we should say that goes along with their bill.
Roy, I did request that for the next bill.
You know, something that shows
Kenny
how many
said-
times they went up or when they went up.
Kenny said he'd give me the detail. So I did talk to Sue Bailey, and she said we will just let it go this month, and then next month we'll start with the detail. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello?
Have a little sign
So-
machine here.
The,
What kind of detail are they required to have?
Kenny has a whole log of the date, the location, the purpose of there, and the milers. He has a whole log. He showed it to me. I can, I think he's gonna write it up on the bill like we do. When Marie and I pay mileage.
So,
What other detail would you like?
well, no, I was wondering, what, we voted, what was it, $100 a month?
No, we
Was it
voted,
150?
no, 50. Yeah, $50. What's the minutes, Marie? I don't think there was a dollar amount on it.
Okay, 55 cents per mile.
Yeah, I don't think we have a dollar amount. It's gonna average, he made 9 trips up there
Okay.
last month, so that's kind of where it got.
So it's not gonna be a round figure like last month?
No,
It's gonna be
no,
more in line with 55 cents a mile
right,
and the miles he had.
right.
Now, is he gonna have an expense sheet this
Yeah,
time? So we're gonna pay
Yeah, I
him
told him to
expense.
give you guys all the detail, and then the bill attached to that. And if you want, I could request him go back to that last bill.
Why do we need a bill? I don't, quite honest, why can't he just give us his expense sheet? We pay him.
Well, because he
mileage.
has other things on his expense sheet. He has all his inspections. He has his whole, it's a log that he keeps.
That has nothing to do with us. It has-
No, we're just paying for the
just,
treatment plant.
just to what the mileage for when they go up to the treatment plant and do the inspections.
So he's gonna give us a mileage sheet with the areas or the charges that the town.
And what he was doing, the
Yeah, and
purpose
now
of
he'll
that
just
inspection,
He'll just check off those things on his whole expense sheet, so we can see where.
Well, I think now talking to you, I probably should request our own, if maybe they can just do one for the treatment plant, a separate, sheet for the I'll have to talk to Kenny.
I know they submit mileage, I do believe, to the, once a month, I think they submit their mileage in, but as stated at the last meeting, they did not budget in the treatment plant. And we voted to pay them the mileage so that they do not have to take it out of their budget, where they did not project it in their budget for this fiscal year because it had not been approved at budget time. So
I have no problem with that, it's just, some kind of a record of how many times it's been there.
this was, the Board of Selectmen at their last meeting, explanation of action, the board voted to acknowledge that the Board of Water Commissioners' actions to pay mileage to the inspection department for the inspection for the treatment plant. It's the attached letter from the chairman of the Board of Water Commissioners, and that was from our vote at the last meeting.
So they approved that.
They approved,
Yeah.
yes. Mr. Patrick,
Good evening.
good evening.
If we knew we were going to be on camera, we would have got dressed up so that we looked good then.
Come on.
Here, you can have it, I'll move out of the way now.
Thank you for seeing us. You all know my father, Sandy.
Of course.
Sandy, here's, thank you.
Oh, I got one right here.
Okay.
You been great, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
So how do we do this? This is my first water department hearing.
Well, it's not a hearing,
Meeting,
it's a meeting.
first meeting.
That, I do believe this goes way back, doesn't it?
It does.
We believe
This is
that,
the lake we were building to hold Noah's Ark with our 717,000 gallons of water. John, you know this well.
Yes.
I do believe at the March 26th letter, let me read it. Dear Mr. Patrick, on February 21st, at a regular meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners discussed your abatement request on account number 150.
Yeah, we have the letter.
You have the letter.
Yeah, the letter came, and that day, the day we received it, we brought I hand-delivered the check to you guys, and said, here you go. But I need to figure it out because
We had, yes, you had requested that the meter be tested. The enclosed is the results of the testing. State allows accuracy to be plus or minus 2%. As you can see, the enclosed test from your meter fell within these guidelines. The board, after viewing these results at the 3/22/12 meeting, voted that the bill stands as is. Interest and demands was not assessed as the bill was under dispute. An up-to-date bill reflects previous and current charges. That was,
I think the issue here is, this all came up when you guys changed the meters. And it's, from our calculations, physically impossible for us to use 700, I mean, what do we do with it? We're talking about a building that was half empty and an irrigation system.
And watering
the usage,
dust for the roads and everything up there.
Pardon me?
That we use all doing the building up there. Where was that water coming from?
Say that again, please?
When you was watering the roads, when you was building that new building up there, where'd all that water come from?
Well, this is before that new building went up.
No.
This is building 3, okay? Which is, if you're familiar with the park, you come in and there's a site on your right-hand side, there's one in the back corner, and then there's the one with the big curtain wall on the face.
which one?
That's the one that this pertains to. And if you look at historically on this, the most it's ever been was 124, and that was at the height of construction for that. And then everything tapered off. This came up when they changed the meters. And we said, the conversation with John is, every summer there's going to be a spike up because we turn the irrigation system on. We're not disputing the whole thing. We're acknowledging that we owe you something. But for it to go from the highest it's ever been is less than $1,000 to go to 6,800, okay? And we had the exact same issue when you changed the meters on the other building. We got a bill for $1,400 for a building that had no water service in it. There was no bathrooms. There wasn't even, all the walls weren't even finished yet. And we came down and we said that too.
There's no water service in it.
We got a
How
$3,000
did you have a
bill.
meter in there if there was no water service?
This right here is the bill you guys gave us.
Yeah, but I'm saying
We
if
paid
there's
the-
no water service in the building.
We paid the
How
$3,000.
did you have a meter there if the service wasn't installed yet?
It was set up, but there was no toilets, there was no sinks, there was no showers.
So you're saying there was no water usage.
The thing,
And then we got it for 183,000 gallons.
so we had never used any more than 1,000, 1,200 gallons of water
And
in a
none of
given
these were
month.
used for construction
And
activity.
then we changed the meter.
You guys
In the
abated
next
that
month,
before.
the next month, we got a bill
Well, I'm
for
just asking,
7,000.
that's all. It's just a question.
I mean, the math is, the simple math is, that if you ran a garden hose full throttle, you'd have to run it for almost 2 months to get 750,000 gallons of water through it.
What's the rate? What's the pressure over there?
10 gallons a minute, right?
80 to 100.
So it's doing 5 or 10 gallons a minute.
10 gallons a minute.
Our engineer gave us a calc that we have to run 24 hours a day for 56 days at that pressure to get to the 717.
I mean,
And then it's tapered off. We haven't hit this again. This all has to do with something with changing the meter. It has to.
I mean, if the meter hadn't been changed, we'd owe you the money.
What graph are you referring to?
Is that, anyone have
That's-
calculated what
That's the
your
history
irrigation-
that George gave us with the
Well,
Just
just by
listing of all
by looking
the,
at the money,
Yeah.
it's never been more than 1,500 gallons. Or $1,500.
Well, but I
That
mean,
was
do you
all
have
we
an
did,
irrigation
because it was just
contractor
one
or
gallon when
someone that
we
handles
did it.
those
So
things?
that was off the old.
Well, we have, Comac,
Yeah.
the guy that put it in.
What was the meter plan?
It's simply
It says on that.
how much
it's-
water goes
it
through
was changed
a
right
given
now.
size pipe.
What I mean to say is,
22,
we brought an
2001
irrigation contractor in to
Mhm.
get us some
That's when
figures
it,
on.
that's when it changed.
We've had some issues with houses with
The
irrigation.
meter was changed right here.
So
This is
we've
the
got a
question
single
though, you weren't
house
being billed the right
using
correct amount.
165,000 gallons
On the old meter, something happened where they weren't, right?
with the
The
irrigation system.
his estimate.
This was just.
He is
That was a quarterly bill.
So they
And
changed
so
it.
when we finally got in there, for whatever reason, the outside reader wasn't put on.
And that's
We weren't getting a real reading, and when we finally got in there, that was all catch up from what hadn't been read previously.
I don't know what the.
I got two conversations going on here at the same time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I wrote one conversation going on, because it's confusing.
Oh,
So,
we're trying to reconstruct stuff that's, over a year old. I mean, that's very difficult for all of us to sit here and try and comment 1,000% accurately and intelligently on. I mean, we've been trying to get this for 8 months. We don't know what happened. I can't sit here, sir, and tell you, hey, exactly what was on, what was in it. I mean, you guys are the experts on that. I'm just using simple deductive reasoning, saying, hey, this is what we've been doing. You guys get a bill, you get a bill from me, it gets paid in 10 days. And then we pay you guys like clockwork. And then we get one that's 7,000 times more than what we ever get.
And the meter, just so happens that the meter was changed.
Well, the meter heads were changed,
Yes,
nothing with the
correct.
operational parts of the meter.
This
And now-
was the old meter that was tested,
Right.
so it wasn't.
Yeah, we didn't touch the new meter at all,
No.
it was the old one.
This was the old meter.
It was
okay.
the old meter, we didn't touch anything.
Was the usage, the total usage on the old meter or partially on the new meter?
It was on the old one, it
It
was
was
catch
on
up.
the old, if you look on that paper I gave you, that's what it says,
You
right
know, we've
there.
had a lot of issues with catch up because when we changed out,
We just used the catch-up because it was the end
That's
of
what
the
happened.
reading.
it happened in a lot of places.
We
I mean,
used one
Because of
gallon.
lack of
and then-
inability to get into buildings or, touch pads that weren't installed or what, for whatever reason.
which size meter are we talking about?
2-inch.
So,
This is a 2-inch meter.
So that's what we got. It said previous reading 0, present 1, usage 717.81.
And right below it, it says the 717,800 gallons was used on the old meter. That's why we had it tested.
So the change out really didn't have anything to do with it.
No.
So I'm sitting here saying this and thinking, if you physically can't get that kind of gallonage through a 1-inch line in 30 days, doesn't the bill come 30 days after that new meter was put in? So how the hell did we ever, is it physically impossible to get the water through it?
Yeah.
I mean,
that-
it's unlikely
Right.
that we use that
Just,
kind of
just
water.
in the interest of accuracy, 1-inch meters are rated 35 gallons a minute capability.
So then it was just one shot.
I mean, wouldn't somebody actually just notice it when they went to read it?
I would think so. I mean, it's difficult for us because we're not there.
Well, it's difficult for us because
We don't.
we
know
weren't there and we were never even notified
We
that
don't
it
know
was gonna
what
be changed.
We don't know what you're gonna do there. Well, I mean, the usage is on the old meter, so the change really has no, it's not like the usage was split between the two meters.
I mean, there's nothing really else
You
that
know,
we can say to you
and
guys.
then we
And
test
just-
the meter and the meter comes back accurate. What are we supposed to do?
I don't, you and I had this discussion. You agreed with me. You seemed, hey, this doesn't seem right. I don't know exactly what to do. I've never seen one of these before.
I agree, but
I know.
It's hard to.
And it's perplexing. We're just here because it just seems so erroneous that we're saying, what's going on? We don't know.
When you say catch up, Jake,
Many times we had in our past meter reading, system, you know, we had estimates and stuff. There's a lot of things, you know, touch pads, we couldn't get into buildings, touch pads weren't working the way we used to read things, you know? We had estimates, and then when we finally go in there, so when the computer just bases it on whatever was used, right? You know, you guys know more about that than I do, but, and then when we finally go in there and change out the meters, and you get the actual reading of the total gallonage that has been used since it was put in, brand new. And you actually look and say, that's, you know, it hasn't been estimated high enough, you know, they were actually using more water than
in other
we were
words, you was
billing them for.
estimating that for a few months or a year or
It's
whatever.
since it was put in. And so they should have actually, you know, and this is, it's not the first building, this has happened before.
4 reads.
They should have been billed for more all along. And so it looks like such a big number when you get to the
The
end.
estimate.
Yeah, and
Well,
it looks like
the
such a big
estimate.
number when you get to the end because that's showing you total since it was brand new in '09. That's what the total gallonage that has gone through there in those 2 years. That, you know, it just wasn't.
Wasn't high enough.
Fortunately, the estimates were not.
So it's not
high
one month that he got that big bill, it's built up for the
Since-
three.
It's been built up since it was
3
put in.
years. Right.
And what they had been paying wasn't covering it. You know, the estimates were not high enough to cover the actual usage being used in those buildings, or that one in particular. This has happened before. You know, we went through a lot of this when we were changing out because we found that the old system of reading just, you know, you may not, things happen, you know, and the estimate is a computer system and the way we used to do things.
Based
and
on historical readings, yeah.
So,
So this thing was put in '09? Was it building, new building in '09?
Correct.
Okay. And what were your bills? This all the bills from '09?
Yes, that came from your
This
office.
gives you your whole usage, but you put a meter in,
Fine, I can stay.
and you finally got to read the real meter, and you changed the meters to actual. Right?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Okay. So, if you back calculate,
and that'll show you total of what has totally gone through this since it was brand new. And we tested that exact meter with the old head and everything, nothing new,
the old meter was
and it was
tested.
accurate. So that is an actual total of what went through there over those 2 years.
So, do we have the total number of days and the total gallons, we'll do a little math on this?
You probably could.
I can do
See
that.
what
Over
the
2
average-
years.
Average days.
So if you go
usage
back,
is.
Divide
you look
it.
at his rate per month, and now we have a monthly rate that he's using. Do we do that to see if that makes sense?
Well, I think it's more accurate to go back and see how many days it represents since installation.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm
divide
talking
it
about.
into the gallons, and that'll tell you what the
Yeah.
average
You
gallon.
you'll get an idea of, yeah, your daily
Is that
usage.
rate?
So the gallons per day you could use to look at what his current gallons per day is.
And it would look more realistic. I mean, you could probably even do it quick. Well,
So what is this thing about water on the roads, or,
Well, this gentleman was just asking about, because we have other
Was that back in
construction going
09?
on over there. I mean,
Actually, when this bill, when this happened, with the $6,000 bill was it was, my God, a year ago. It was more than a year ago that this has been, it was under the old meter.
you
It
can
was
picture
in
them.
11.
Yeah, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your comment was, we have other construction going on over there. I mean, I think a couple of times we've done that, we've tapped the hydrant and we've got a bill for that.
Yes.
We put a separate,
Yeah.
put
Yes.
it,
Separately needed, yes.
Got the-
if construction, you had to use water, you got it off the hydrant?
Well,
Yeah,
we have
we
the
had,
apparatus. We have the apparatus.
we had the temporary meter.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to put a bigger hose on it.
Hydrant.
That's how we would,
Hydrant.
that's how we would handle, how we would tap a hydrant. But that bill that you're referring to, how long was that estimated for?
Doing that.
And why? I mean, there's no problem getting into our building.
So how do you know it's estimated, Jason? Is it just because there's a round number on the end of it?
There's E on it.
it's an eco.
Every E is an estimate.
And the
Okay.
F's, Tim, are for backflow prevention. We're
Totally-
not
totally
billing,
unrelated to this
that's,
issue.
yeah. was
They're all estimated bills from the time the meter was put in. And then we changed the meter out in '09.
You changed.
I can say that
No, in
when-
11, I mean.
when those meters were put on, however things may have happened, on several of them, we used to use probe heads, and they were never drilled and wired out to the outside. And that's, we used to just go touch and move on. And whatever ones, you know, especially in new construction, weren't put on,
Yeah, no
you
history.
couldn't get a reading. And so automatically when we came back here, when everything was entered in off our books, the computer would automatically generate an estimate if it didn't get a reading, you know what I'm saying? And that's how that happened, I would assume.
Well, when we took a look at that, I mean, you see there's very minimal usage at the beginning of this. Then there's a spike up, you get to that 124, and that's when there was a lot of people in the building. Then it started to go the other way. And then we anticipate, like I said, there's always gonna be a spike up in the summertime, because that's when we crank up the irrigation system.
So why don't we,
But I mean, now there's a fraction of the people in that building.
why don't we?
This is a bigger issue, Jim. I'm gonna wanna check the other buildings, because the other side of this is, with all these tenants, I mean, this is a reimbursable issue. I mean, so these things need to be accurate. I mean, we're paying it, but this goes right back into, you know, lease agreement. So this can really give us a kick in the teeth
Our
if it's
meter
not-
reading
if it's
system
not-
now is a 200% times better than, you know,
The original.
than it was.
Yeah.
You know, we made a big investment to get it, so it's
Well,
absolutely accurate now,
There's
you know.
data storage.
But I think what I'm hearing here is that we've gone and paid this, and yes, this meter was tested, but nobody knows for certain. We don't, you guys don't, if this thing is accurate.
But none
Well,
of these,
that's-
this isn't
That's what I'm saying,
estimated,
no,
no.
they were, at least we
I mean,
got a.
The thing is,
There's no program that's estimating bills that go from $200 to $900.
Yeah,
These are,
it does. As the office person, I'm like.
how's
You
it
know
do
what?
that?
you know what, gentlemen? Just looking at this and going through what the estimates of the old meter and stuff does us no good. Okay, we have actuals now out there. We can get an actual average of what that building uses. Okay, and to resolve this, go out, look at what your actual average usage from that. Get the average, do it get the average of the building, go through it, give it the average of its use, and if it's over, abate it to the average use that you're using out there now. That would be the only, I would think, and my board members,
All
be
right,
the
well,
fair
I
way,
agree. Let's
fair way to
spend a couple
resolve
of
this.
days with the numbers
Okay.
here and see if we can straighten out and
You
take
want
it
us to
back.
calculate that, or you guys?
Well, we can go through and see what you're actually using now, okay? And get the average of what in the past 6 months, if you wanna go back 6 months, and get an average of what you're using, and average the bill out and to its average use. These are estimates of what I see. These are all estimates with a catch-up. You can't take an average off an estimate. But we have the numbers to get an actual average of
Yeah.
that building out there now.
Did you use
So,
the irrigation on it this
let's-
summer?
Yeah, we use every summer.
All right, so it would probably represent fairly accurate.
Okay,
Do
let's
we,
see.
do we know
Yeah,
the
that's the point.
actual reading of that meter when they put it in 2009?
Zero,
Zero.
It was actually 0.
brand new meter.
We're more than happy paying the average. And that's all.
Well,
I
we're
think
gonna work with the numbers and see
I
what we
think it
come
may
up with.
only be fair that, I mean,
That's fine.
we have the
That's all we're
average.
looking, we're not asking for any preferential treatment.
Back when this was generated, we didn't have an average, because it was all, by the looks of it, all estimated. And you can't get an average on an estimate.
I think the
So
big,
we have actuals now, we have actual readings and to see what is actually being used in the facility to base an average on.
This
So-
isn't even about what's being used in the facility. It's about the irrigation. And the irrigation, I mean, the
Well,
facility, you could say, well, there's people there today, there's got people there next
See,
month.
what we're gonna do, Sandy, is see, okay, if the billing was in the summer months, because there is a different average because of the irrigation
Sure.
between the months that it's used. So when you do your average, you gotta go back to the months that it was being used, okay? If this billing was within the summer months, then you go back to the summer months of what your usage is in the summer months and get an average of the time period that it was being used, as in the months, summer months, spring months, winter months. Because you use less in the winter than you do in the summer.
Sure.
Everybody
Okay.
uses more with irrigation. So you go back to the same time frame and get an average of the real numbers that we have. We have the real numbers now. And do the calculations and base it upon the real averages.
At one point, we said, we have a controversy here. I mean, the issue is, apparently, it's estimates. Brian's point, I'm not sure got out, is that the water bill for a tenant is reimbursable to us.
Yes.
So at the end of the year, we want to present the water usage to the tenant and say, hey, you owe us for the water usage, right? We've been unable to do that because we've, I guess, been getting estimated water bills. It's nice that you,
From what it looks in the time period of the old meter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
before September of
Yes.
2011.
So now it's been
Now it
fixed.
should be, yeah, it should be.
We wanna make sure, that's the biggest
See-
picture, we wanna get
but
some
see, that's-
confirmation that that's.
That's what I'm saying, is now that everything is fixed, you can get an actual average now of the time period that it was being estimated.
So how do
Okay.
we wanna conclude, and we agree, how do you wanna conclude this? So you wanna get to us in 2 weeks, next week?
Well, we can go back through and see what the month period of the estimates of where it went up to the 7/17/801 and go back through the time periods, okay, through the months and see what months they were based upon your average use now of what we have for actual numbers.
Since we've
Yeah,
all,
but it's-
we've all spent plenty of time on this, both tonight and previously. Why don't we
Let the
just,
girls go over and come up with some numbers out of the, from the previous thing, and,
Just
you know,
take,
send you a
why
letter,
don't
and
you
then we can
just
sit
take
back
the
down
year,
again and straighten it out.
take the past calendar year,
I'm agree-
divided by
I'm agreeable
12,
to that, or
Do that.
we
get an
could,
average yearly. And then-
I would also be agreeable to just say, take that month of the $6,500, $7,500, divide it in half, and give us credit, and we'll go
Let's
away.
see what the
happy.
girls come up with
Okay.
some numbers,
Alright.
and we'll send you a copy, and then we can sit back down and, and see what we can come up with that everybody's agreeable on, right?
I think, yes, I think if you go, if you establish an average of actual numbers that we have now, by the looks of this, we didn't have actual averages because it's estimated. And
I would've-
at this,
I would've
going back to '09 and '10, I couldn't tell you why it was estimated,
Is the rate the same?
okay?
Is the rate the same?
No, the rates are not.
So we have to go back and then vary
So,
the rate.
I think
and then
The
we
back
computer
out.
will do that for us, Tim.
Huh?
The computer will
The
go back.
computer will
When we
do
do
that,
the abatements, we
yeah.
go
Okay.
back to the
Yeah.
actual bill and the actual rate
I
and the
think
actual.
we-
So it's easy
This
enough.
doesn't need to be to the penny, this is,
It
you
will
know,
be, we can do it.
Well, we want it to
We
the
can do
penny.
it.
We can do it, yeah, we can do it, and calculate it back. And I know it'll be less than I know it's gonna be less than the 6,836.06.
I'm just noticing here, you got 3 months.
It's still gonna be less than that,
You got 3 months,
Yeah.
and you paid
This one's on
$207
the higher
for 3
rate,
months.
but the computer will automatically do that.
It will.
And then we
When they
have,
put it in, when they put it in, into the program.
I make a motion that we hold this, let them go through the thing, and get back with them.
so you can't look at these numbers and make any
No,
conclusions.
you can't make
Yeah,
any,
and
you
it's-
can't make any.
and the other thing is I hate to make it a little more complex, is since this stuff, we've expanded the irrigation system. So everything that we did this summer, okay, is a greater area from, I mean, you guys can go over there, you can see the construction that's going on. It's just gonna keep going around until it's done.
Well, it's just a matter of when we take the averages from.
Yeah, what I'm just saying is,
Right.
what we were using back when
Right.
this transpired, we've expanded the irrigation system,
To use
goes
it
all
more,
around the
your
retention pond, and
usage
goes,
is that greater.
goes across the street.
But-
So it's
but
just, it's gonna be
what
hard to
I'm-
get an
yeah,
apples.
What I'm hearing is there's no
comparison.
more estimates.
No,
Is
It's
that-
actually,
no,
You know,
everything is actual. There are some work.
that's what we do.
That's
So-
that's
so
why we
something about
upgraded
this.
everything, Sam. That's why we upgraded all the meters, that's why we went to all the new all the new readers. With the new readers, we can download the data and get it hourly and minutely of your usage. This was the old meters, the old readers, we had problems with them, that's why we upgraded everything. We had other issues, you know, we had people with other issues that we looked at, and some we abated, some, you know, most of them we abated because of the estimating was a problem at that time. That's when we were doing, when we went from biannually, then we went to quarterly, and then when we went to monthly. Okay, and there was a period when we were going quarterly that we were estimating one quarter and reading the next, and estimating a quarter, so I didn't have to send the guys out there 4 times a year to manually read all these, because it took 2 weeks to read all these meters. So all our guys would have been reading meters all the time. So we did an actual and an estimate, and an actual and an estimate, till we went into the monthly billing. When we got all the new readers on and had all the system upgraded to go monthly, everything is actual. There are no more estimates. Because estimates were a problem.
We can ensure that going forward, there will be no issues. I think the water department wants to make sure you're comfortable with that.
Yes.
We made the investment, you know what I mean? And
No.
we would like to make sure, we had some issues through time.
Oh, yeah.
We had some older
Oh, yeah,
meters
we
that
did.
hadn't been read in,
Oh, yeah, we did.
just because, you know, our old system, but we made the investment, and we just need to make sure that our users are happy with
We can
our new system, and
we
we
can
are.
we
Which
can
one
sit down.
use?
We can
I'm
sit
asking
down
for
with the
previous-
numbers, with the numbers that we have, okay, the actuals that we have, since we put in the new system. And we can generate the average for the time period that builds up to the 717.
Then we'll see.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's fine, that works.
And we
We'll see
can
something
do that,
about
and we
this.
get the results of that, and we will notify you and as to results.
We can be more than happy with that.
Okay.
I think you should have taken the 50-50 split though.
Nah, you know,
You're right.
Thank you for your time. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
thank you.
Thanks to see
You
you.
too.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sandy?
Good to see you. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
Jacob, meet.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Very nice to see you.
Thank you, ladies.
Take care.
I need a
Take
motion.
care.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you made a motion to do what I just said? I'll
Yes.
second that
Okay,
motion
you're
to do
gonna
an
second the
average.
motion?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. so
Michael's
now-
here now. You wanna come up,
Michael's
Mike?
here.
sure.
Oh. Michael, I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Kazachinsky.
Pazachinsky. I'm Scott.
Scott, nice to meet you.
This is my fellow commissioner, Tim Toomey,
Tim?
and Roy Ricker.
Right.
So, let me see. This is, in the past, the bill, I received these 2 items. Let me see. Now, we're talking here on what month?
I believe it was July.
July, the month of July, from, oh, it says here, June 28th to July 25th. I found the bill, right? Let me read this letter. What is that? To Scott Martin, Chairman of the Board, Raleigh Water Department. Dear Mr. Martin, I am writing this letter to you in regards to the bill I received for the dates from June 28th to July 25th of this year. I find this bill to be very high compared to my 8 previous years living here, living at this same address in Raleigh. Every summer I do run my lawn irrigation system to keep my yard looking good for both the community and myself. After many summers passed, I expect the bill would be about this amount. That was always for the 3 hottest months combined, not 1 month. I understand there is a new water treatment plant being built to service the community with fresh, clean, soft water. I know funding is always hard to come by. I myself am a self-employed electrician. The economy is tough and has been for years. Nobody likes when the price of everyday products skyrockets, such as gas and milk. How can the price of my water go so much higher than those previous items? It is my understanding that there is something terribly wrong with your water rate table. We are being gouged worse in the cities and towns that fall under the MWRA with no sewage system to boot. This bill is unfair and I do not wish to pay that amount. There has to be a middle ground we could come to stand on together. Thank you for your time and consideration upon this matter. I look forward to working with you to resolve this dispute. Sincerely, Michael Piazazinski.
That's close enough.
Okay, so did send you
I did, and
send
you know,
you out because we do have the data recorder.
I did get the data report, and it's more shock than anything from the past years.
Yeah.
I mean, it did cause me to shut off my irrigation system completely. I understand just from sitting back there, but this is an accurate system. I'm not doubting that it's not accurate.
That's just today.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure the new meters are dead on accurate. My concern was, and again, as they were mentioning irrigation now, it seems that the way that the rate was tiered, you know, per first few thousand and so on, that it really jumped on the last tier. It went from 36,000 gallons to infinity, I believe, as a huge jump. I just wanted it explained to me. Obviously, the stung has wore off. We're in November.
Because with the hot months, we did have, I mean, people that were running irrigation systems during the hot months, water. And if you took, I don't know how many zones you have or how long you have it running per each zone. It was shocking to a lot of people that ran their irrigation system on the town supply with the new rate structure and the rate block. And the rate structure is set up on average use. And the average use of a household is 60 gallons per person per day. That's the state. The state sets the as to their average use. And the first block is more, the first block, what's it, 0 to 4,000?
Yeah.
0 to 4,000 is for like your double occupancy, your elderly, your people, you know, that. The second block is more of a family, from 4,000 to 36,000. Okay, and then you have 36,000 to infinity is more of your higher usage as to commercial and stuff. But although if you have an irrigation system that you can program to water once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. You can program them to 5 minutes a zone, 10 minutes a zone, you know, and what have you. You could program it. I was on the recreation committee years ago. We put in a new irrigation system, and they used out there one time after I was off, they had it programmed to where it poured out 3 million gallons of water out on the fields in one summer.
Okay.
And so it depends on, you know, irrigation systems. I have stood on the podium at town meeting. I've gone to all the informational meetings that we had on this filtration plant. To tell people the rates are going up. Okay, be aware of your usage. I would highly recommend that you not run an irrigation system on the town supply now. It's going to be expensive.
Okay.
But with that said, you know, as a lot of people have found out, that when they got their first bill for hot weather and they didn't cut that system off or cut that system down, it was shocking.
Okay. One other thing, and I understand, like I said, that the stung is worn off now, but would it be fair, as you just said, commercial usage and commercial establishments, using that, would it be fair to potentially put in a residential irrigation bracket, if you will, so that residences aren't getting lumped in with the
Well,
big commercial buildings. I mean,
The thing is this.
I pay higher rate for my commercial registered van as opposed to my personal car.
But if you used your average usage, if you used your average use, your bill wouldn't have been that. It would have been much, much lower. Your bill is not high because the rates are high. Your bill is high because your usage was high. You know, and that's why, because when people ask me, and they say, well, I've got this bill, I don't ask how much, I said, how much did you, what was your usage?
Sure.
And that's what I
And
look
then
at.
the other thing would be that in similar usage for a month at a quarterly rate, which you guys used to bill, I would roughly pay at the end of the summer after July, August, and September, $600 a month, somewhere around that. And this year, of course, it was $500-600 for 1 month. I have seen in the past, that's why I said it seemed like the rate increased
Well-
enormously as you got into over the third tier. There used to be tiers, I don't have it in front of me, but there used to be like 4 tiers?
5.
5 tiers.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
and the
was-
jump was that third tier was huge.
Well, that's because we went from quarterly billing to monthly billing. So you had to change
So you had
your
to
tier
change that.
system.
There was
You
nobody
had-
in the top 2 tiers in the
You had to
monthly
change
usage.
your
Okay.
tier system.
Okay.
So, you know, like I stated that, you know, I mean, I have had some people come in with a high bill, and I pull up, we go out and download the data report. And in one instance, it was the gentleman had a leak in a swimming pool, and it showed a spike at 5 o'clock every morning, the spike in the pool, okay? And it actually, it saved him, because if we were doing a quarterly or a biannually bill, twice a year, you wouldn't have seen that, you know, if we didn't have these readers.
Okay.
Okay? But the thing is that, like I said, I don't look at the price. I look at the usage, and I look at how many are in the household, okay? If it's a household of 4, and you do the average use, and the average usage per person per day, and then when you look and you look at you know, at a household that the average use should be between probably 17 and 20,000 gallons. And your average use is your use in the winter. And you look at your bill in the winter per month. And then you look at your bill in the summer, when you don't have the amenities. And it's in, you know, 43,835 gallons a month. It's a lot of water.
Yeah, the previous month it was 4,500.
Scott, if I possibly, you know, I think that, you know, the reason is, just to give a little explanation, you know, we start getting into, especially the summer months, if everybody in the neighborhoods is using a little more than they're than their normal with their irrigations and stuff, our operating costs, you know, jump a pretty good amount, and I think that's why the rate system is set up that way, you know?
Well, also,
I mean,
it's also this, because the state, okay, state requires, okay, to have conservation and preservation of your water system. And if our numbers go up over our withdrawal permit, okay, because we are allowed to withdraw X amount of gallons a year. If we go over that withdrawal permit, then they'll come in, then the state will say to us, well, you're not conserving and preserving, okay? And there are communities that ban outside watering, so that they can stay within, their withdrawal permit.
Okay.
We're not there. I don't hope we never go there, you know, because, you know, but I would highly recommend anybody with an irrigation system that wants to keep their lawn green in the summer months,
Well,
to single point a well. Absolutely, single
I already
point a
thought
well,
about it.
you know, and just for the irrigation, if you want. Because if you want to, you know, pour 3,000 gallons of, you know, of water out on your lawn to keep it green, you're not gonna wanna be on the town supply.
All I wanted was an explanation, that's all.
And,
Face
you
to
know,
face,
I mean, I know it stings, I know that first bill, it stings and it hurts.
Yes.
You know, and I guarantee, like I said, I guarantee you, after that, you turn that irrigation system down or off,
Absolutely.
you know, because, you know, I mean,
If it's gonna be that way, that's fine, like I said, I want an explanation, thank you for.
I would highly recommend if you got an irrigation system to put in to, you know, you don't want to be on the town supply.
Okay.
If you want a green one, you know. Because the prices of the water aren't going down.
Okay.
We're building a $12.3 million water filtration plant. When that goes online, Mike, okay, you're gonna have bottled water coming out of your tap. You're not gonna wanna water your lawn with bottled water.
Sure. I understand.
But I do wanna serve the town for your potable water. Now, that's our job. Our
Right.
job is to serve you potable water to your house,
Mhm.
okay? And I want quality water to serve to your house.
Sounds like it will be.
So you won't have to go out and buy
Certainly
bottled
hope
water
so.
anymore,
Right.
you know?
All right, well, listen, like I said, I wanted an explanation, that's all. I appreciate it, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
Michael, just one
Yes.
question. What did you use for the last 2 months? You were at,
Probably in the 4,000 gallon range again. You know,
So
which is
what-
family 4.
what do you think, maybe I missed it, what did you think, the sprinkler system caused that, to go up that high?
The sprinkler system definitely was on.
Yeah, I'll look at the
The log
I'll show
shows.
you at night.
I don't have a swimming pool, and I do have, like I said, I stated in the letter, I mean, I do have an irrigation system. So, and I know that most of my neighbors do too. Everybody at the same time, again, got that first bill, was floored.
I spoke to one of the neighbors,
Yeah.
one of your
So
neighbors
you-
down the street, and he was, he was using 8,000 gallons every other night on his,
Yeah.
and he had to call the irrigation company. You know, can you come in and turn this down, or shut off some zones? And
See,
so
that's-
he did not know that they were
That's all.
set to put that much water out, and you know, it was
See,
a little bit of a.
Well,
that's the
around
thing is
here.
how you set it too. If you, you know, if you know, I don't know if you have a rainbird system or what system you have out there, okay?
Fortunately and unfortunately, I live on the sunny side of
Okay.
the street.
I remember when I was on the recreation committee, like I said, with that system out there, we had it hooked to the town supply up behind the police station. And, I made myself very knowledgeable about the system and how to program it, how to run the zones, and how much each head, you know, put, because we were growing grass up there, okay? And the whole time we grew grass up there, and I think I paid, at that time, maybe $2,500 for the season. And I left the recreation committee and went on to the planning board, and the people who was left to, they weren't as knowledgeable as I was on the system, and it was left to run whatever it was left on. And it poured 3 million gallons of water on the fields over the summer.
Yeah.
And they got a huge bill, even back at that time.
Right.
And I remember having to go to town meeting to speak, to pay the bill. It was up as an article on the floor back in, when I was in 2000.
Fortunately, I only owe
But
Couple hundred.
the point going is that you can program, it depends on how you program that system.
Yeah.
If you program that system to pour 3,000 gallons a night on your lawn, it will. It will. And one thing that the block system does, and which the state likes too, because during the block system, it encourages, it makes people aware of their usage.
Absolutely.
And it encourages people to preserve and conserve water.
Okay.
And the state likes that.
All right, and again, so I'm clear on the rates now, and I appreciate you let me come down here and hear it firsthand. Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. All these here. That's it. So, dates. Okay. The budget. We've been, the girls and John have been working on the budget. It's in process, getting the fiscal year 014's budget going. Just giving the board an update on it. We're about halfway there, maybe?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, there's no hard, fast
No hard, fast numbers yet.
draft just yet. I mean, there's still some considerations in anticipation of next year when the plant comes online, or it's actually completed.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll probably be picking up a partially increased debt service for the plant. And also there's going to be startup costs involved with the getting it approved for use. We had a draft here of what DEP was looking for in the consent order. It's called Raleigh Water Treatment Plant Plan of Operation. It's saying that it will start producing water in December of 2013 because this was drafted prior to
The change.
the change of the delayed startup of construction. So it will probably be, I'm gonna say, what, April? Probably if we're looking at 20 months of construction time, assuming that they stay on schedule.
Yeah.
April
Yeah.
14 or
On
April?
14. And just a few notes that out of this plan is anticipated DEP will require a 2T level operator 40 hours a week. A 1T operator must be available for weekend and vacation coverage, certain tasks. Working chemical feed areas require 2 operators to be present for significant portions of the 8-hour shift. Raleigh currently has on board sufficient staff with anticipated qualifications to properly operate and maintain the plant. Startup and training, specialized training for the equipment of the WTP will start in the fall of 2013. Since existing staff will need to be trained, following accommodations will be made during training and startup of the project. Training will be scheduled with repeat sessions so all staff can attend training given by the equipment manufacturers and startup staff. And there's a 60-hour time period on the startup that is part of the contract.
So 60 hours from an outside contractor to operate the plant?
So that to actually run the plant, do a trial.
That's the test.
There'll be a 60-hour trial. And
That's like a week and a half.
right.
Now, how many people?
That's just to run everything, make sure
Is that in the
equipment
contract?
is operational.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pump the waste.
Yeah, that's a pump to waste. Then the question will be how long DEP wants to run it before they allow it to go online. And we've had some off-the-shoulder recommendations from them, but we don't have anything solid yet. What is saying, 4 months probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Four
we
to
haven't
six.
got an update from them yet, if they'd like to take a look at how things.
So we'll look at the
Various
worst case
scenarios.
scenario for a rough draft. Hopefully they can give us a more solid, what they're gonna actually look for. And then some of that, depending how the thing actually operates, will determine how long they want it to go through that. So,
They had spoke about continuous operation.
Right.
for a period of time, meaning staff, possibly 20, you know, we don't know yet. Possibly
Well, it
24 hours
says-
a day for a while, we don't know.
The second bullet here says FY 2014 budget will have to have an allowance for overtime so operators can complete normal operating duties and participate in training and startup activities. In the summer of 2013, Raleigh Water Department will modify work assignments to reflect the requirements of the WTP. The draft operation and maintenance manual will be available for review by operations staff by October 31st, and I don't know if that date will change due to the delay
I
in
think that's
starting
just
the
a training
training.
period. I think that's just, before the training period is out, yeah.
Right. Budgets, FY 2014 operations budget will reflect increased costs for the water plant. The following is a schedule for preparing and implementing new budget, and once again, these dates need to be updated to reflect that. But, the original plan was update draft budget December 2012, finalized the budget March 2013, incorporate 7 months of new plant operation into the overall budget July 1st, 2013. So, next category, outside contract services. Following new services will be procured for the new water treatment plant. This bulleted additional chemicals, residual disposal, and pumping of the CIP waste tight tank. During the summer of 2012, procurement specifications will be prepared and bids taken for 7 months. December 1st to June 30th for chemicals and tight tank waste disposal. Once again, those dates will change.
Yes, because that needs to be set before June 30th of 2014,
Exactly.
when we're ready for operation.
First cleaning of residual basins will be in the summer of 2014. That'll probably be delayed 2 or 3 months. And during the summer of 2014, procurement specifications will be prepared and bids taken for removal of residual for 2014. So, and once again, those are moved ahead a couple of months.
So this budget we're got a draft on right now?
This is the one we're working on, yes.
That-
So it's going to be somewhat complicated.
What period is the budget for, just to refresh my memory?
It'll be for the fiscal year.
Fiscal year 14.
Right. The question is, you know, if construction comes in on time, without delay, and actually we do start up in April, or if there are some delays encountered, some of those things we'll just have to take our best shot at. And then, like I said, there'll be operation up until June 30th of that year for this budget. Then when we look at the next year's budget, you'll have to look at a full year of operating the plant and the personnel required. But,
So it's gonna be, the big question as far as operation will be from April to June of 2014.
right.
We have to put numbers in there to cover that
To cover the
expense.
startup expense, yes. And then, once we go to the full year's budget, which won't be this budget, it'll be the next one. And hopefully we'll have some experience with it by then. But we'll be, whether we're gonna get away with single shift operation or if there may be double shift during the hot months. Because Station 2 can't carry the town by itself. It doesn't have the capacity.
So when we get this together, John, did we figure that this was gonna be, the guys going down there and then making sure everything's tweaked properly? And then, watching everything else?
Yep.
Or was it, were we also considering that we were gonna have a full-time staff down there, or?
Well, we knew, yeah, you're gonna have one person full-time, as it says in this plan.
So there'd be one person full-time, 24 hours a day?
No, just the regular.
8 hours a day, unless needed. Unless additional is
Right.
needed, maybe during
If you have high
usage.
demand, say in July and August, suppose you're in the 90s or whatever, and water demand goes up, you may have to run a second shift. That depends on what the usage is gonna be.
It's gonna take us a while to figure out when we can fill tank, when we can't. We have to run a minimum flow through the plant no matter what.
Right.
How long is that gonna take to fill the tank? Hydraulics that you're gonna change in the system. It'll take us a while to get it down
To get it fine.
so we know, you know, when we can run or when we're gonna have to run.
There is some storage.
You just can't turn this thing on, treat the water and shut it down.
No.
No.
I mean, it's a science.
Did you-
I mean, you gotta, it's,
Did you go out to Gardner with us? Did you go?
No, but I saw another.
you know,
Say,
some days with no usage, you
there
could
is
pop that
some-
thing on and it'll overflow the tank. Other days, you could run it for hours and you won't even catch up. It varies so much.
It's all
It all
depends
depends
on
on
what
the
the system
filter, too.
demand.
Well, it depends on how efficient it is too, right?
Right. A lot of filters become more, I mean, the filters backwash fairly periodically, but there is some head loss when you're producing water as the filters become more clogged. But we also have clear water storage in the plant itself, in the clear well. So in some instances, if there's a high demand but it's not really high, you may be able to use station 2 at night and use what's in the clear well to supplement that. In that case, you wouldn't run second. If it's really high or over a certain.
How many gallons that clear well?
150.
150.
150,000.
I think, yeah, I think it's 150.
So,
Is there any sense to call the places you visited to see, hey, you know, this is similar to ours? And what do you guys do?
Well,
you can
what's-
get a feel for it, but,
And-
you know, once again, the
That's-
dictating factor is gonna be what their town uses.
That's right. And that's what Weston Sampson is there for. They have started up these other plants and they know what they run and it's gonna be the same process, the same, you're gonna have to do this. But like John says, it really matters and each system is different. Every system is
What
different.
your town uses.
That's right, hydraulics,
Right.
how many tanks you got, you know, whatever you have for storage, I mean, it's
And-
really,
Much as I hate to use this unknown factor, but weather is a huge factor. If it's a cold, rainy summer, or if it's not hot, the demand's not gonna be there. If it's hot, dry, demand always goes up.
Yeah,
There's no
right.
question of that. So it's a tough thing to budget for. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's a
you
tough
have to
thing.
use some approximations and to
hard to
avoid
project.
coming up short, you kind of have to look at the high side of things, just so that you don't come up short on the budget.
I think
Water
for your
usage
fiscal
is
year
hard to
14,
project.
the fiscal year 14, because you know you're gonna run like, you know, April through June, I would project on the high side because we're gonna spend more time there. Down the road, maybe
That'd
not
be
so much.
less, Right.
Yeah, but I think we know that
Yeah.
the startup months are gonna probably, at least for personnel, you know, we know startup chemicals, stuff like that, you know, is gonna be,
You're gonna go.
we don't have numbers, but we know it's gonna be.
Higher.
In addition, you know, it's yet to be determined yet. We have to sit down with our engineers and figure out exactly what that is gonna be, but.
Was the startup chemicals part of the,
The startup chemicals for the testing is provided by the contractor.
Right.
I have to get, when that is done, and this thing's ready to go online, they have already instructed me that I have to be ready to get those tanks filled. Right then, so, you know, I mean, this stuff with procurement before June 30th, I mean, I gotta be ready to fill in tanks whenever that's April 1st or whoever, you know, whenever that is, that time is gonna be, so.
yeah, but they'll be ready to go when they give you the key. So what I'm
Right.
saying is that the startup chemicals will be there. And then,
Yeah, up to a.
Up to,
but
up
how
to a
long does the
certain
startup
level.
chemicals last?
well, if it's laid out in detail in the contract.
It's a function of the rate you treat.
It's,
Yes.
yeah, they'll have enough chemicals for their 60-hour test. And there's some, you're gonna have to, you know, there's a lot of language in the contract about contractor reimbursement for chemicals left or whatever. We will have to go over that in detail.
But this all has to be incorporated in fiscal year 014's budget, and that's what we're working on. We're working on getting to see
It's a
what
particularly difficult one because
what costs
So
are
many
gonna be the
variables
startup
that are in
cost
it,
and
you know.
to project them into the budget.
you're gonna have to do some
You know.
approximations.
So, and which rolls into the next thing is job description progress. with our personnel. Their job descriptions have got to be, we've been working on getting the treatment plant into the job descriptions to be sent to personnel. And for,
How many guys do we have now with the right licenses to be up there?
4.
There is 4,
Yes.
everybody's all set.
It also has to be understood that as I'm have the staff to staff that other, other things that go on in town, other projects.
No, but I'm just saying-
It pulls the staff from distribution and treatment,
All
so we
4
have-
guys are permitted
Yes,
to be.
They're licensed, well, some are in training.
correct.
but the
Well,
thing
They need
is,
to fulfill a certain time period.
as
before they
into
get
the
full
job,
license.
their job descriptions, okay, that have got to be, because we've never had this is the first water filtration plant going in, that the job descriptions have to be amended, and we're in the process of amending the job descriptions to send them into personnel to have them reviewed at the first draft, to work with personnel on the job descriptions for the employees,
So the job descriptions for the existing employees, or are you talking
for
about?
the existing employees and.
Have got to be
and-
modified?
Yes, to include the treatment plant.
What's involved with that process, Scott?
Well, we sit down and do the language to put in the draft form, send it to personnel. Personnel, and as it is, it's a work in process. They review it. If they want to, if they have any changes or tweaks, they change it, do it, we work together, and it comes back, okay? And then you amend it to whatever changes, and you work it out, and you send it back to personnel and have it reviewed until the board, until personnel and the board are happy with it. And because they're union employees, the union is involved in the approval of it, and it's work between personnel, union, and the board, and then when it's, and then it's approved. And that's the process of that. So
And
it's been, I've done it a few times with the job descriptions. It's been a lengthy process in some cases, in most, because there's a lot that goes into it in amending the job descriptions. And we have probably in the job descriptions of town employees, the water department's job descriptions are quite intense compared to most, because of the licenses and everything that's required by the state regulations for our employees.
Yeah, but if we have 4 people that are licensed, or we're gonna have current licenses to help us with that plan, why isn't in their current descriptions something sufficient to?
It reflects DEP's raised their
There's
grading.
nothing ever in there about water filtration.
Okay.
There's
Some
many,
exception.
there's many things that aren't even, this is from DEP, and they even recommend, in the summer of 2013, Water Department will modify work assignments to reflect requirements of the new water treatment plant. That means modifying job descriptions to
Yeah.
reflect
Yeah.
new duties.
Yep.
Yes. And our grade, we went from a 1T to a 2T.
Right.
That also elevates everything.
The
you know,
system
too, so-
grade has been changed.
You're
Or
right.
will be changed.
So the type of treatment we have right now, we're all set with our classifications and all that stuff with
It's
the
one
personnel.
T, yes.
As soon as we bring this plant on board, we're gonna have to increase the classifications of these people.
Yes.
Okay, so do they
And
need,
we've been working on.
We've been working with them so everybody is up to par.
Everybody's.
do they have to take tests to?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, with the
Extensive-
the job
extensive process,
descriptions, I want
fantastic,
the job descriptions to reflect that.
So, and, we've already begun preparing for that and getting them licensed and schooling and taking tests. So.
How long does it take to get them from like a T1 to a T2?
It's at least 6 months. There's 3 months of
The classroom part of it,
3 months of classes now.
and then there's an experience requirement.
So that is your test, then there's an experience requirement on top of the test.
Where's the classes?
Usually in
Holliston.
in Waterworks, Holliston.
Holliston?
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a nice variety.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the treatment plant is up and running, we're gonna have a training room, and I'm not saying for sure, but we will probably be approached by Massachusetts Waterworks to run classes in the plant because of the new technology. I can foresee that with the new technology plant, that they're gonna be interested in running classes. They'll probably approach us for it, I wouldn't,
Well,
You
some
know.
of the classes we go to now, we go to the Beverly Salem Water Treatment Facility. It's good for them to have regional areas to train people that are
Mhm.
closer, rather than trying to drag everybody in the state down to one location. So very often they'll approach you about if they'd like to participate. And where it is new technology, sometimes say if they get a membrane filtration class, they may come to us and say, we'd like to run that class.
I go from the zoning board. This is still recording.
okay.
Okay.
Remember that when the meeting ends?
So the,
What's that?
Remember that when the meeting ends?
Oh, yeah.
so the, we gotta know for sure if we get the qualifications to operate here.
We will.
We will.
We're pretty much there.
Right now, we have, what?
But, Mike, you know, me and John have really been working too on maybe, you know, we're gonna have to restructure a little bit. Where we're putting people, you know, as we have enough staff, but as we pull one or two guys from here and put them to run that plant during the day, we have other replacement projects, items. We still need staff here to run the distribution side and the construction side of things.
Isn't
So,
that where you take like some of your biggest cities,
Backflow,
you know,
they have,
2 divisions.
Yeah, they do.
most
they have
places
like
it's two divisions.
Ovia, or whatever it's called, that runs the plant,
Viola.
and, yeah, Viola, and then they have
Well,
like
that's
CM
Oh,
something, CM2 something.
That's
Yep.
private.
Yeah,
Right,
those-
but
those
what
are
I'm saying
private
is-
companies, yeah.
They have companies that come in, they take care of the
Yeah.
plants.
Yep.
Many other towns
Very
that are bigger than
expensive.
us have a separate treatment
Very
and just a
expensive.
distribution division.
Very expensive to
We
contract
run
your
all our
work
personnel
out
does
to
both.
private.
We
Very
cover it, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
but I mean, it's well, all over now.
You know, yeah.
We should, you know, put the numbers together and see what, you know what I'm saying?
We hired
It's,
contract operations here before. And
When we were-
primary operators come in at about $125 an hour. And secondary operator was about $90.
Just go with it.
That's when we had staffing issues, and we didn't have we had a primary
What's that, just push in?
operator
Okay.
that resigned, and we had to go out and contract in a primary and a secondary operator from a private firm. And then, like John said, it was $125 an hour for the primary
Primary.
and $90 an hour for the secondary. Very expensive.
But that's on a short term, it's probably gonna be more money anyway in a short term thing.
On the short term, of course, and then you're getting into an area where I don't even want to speak on, because we have union employees. And I don't even want to discuss
Go down that
that,
road.
don't go down that road.
Okay, if you want the latest update on the water plant?
Yeah.
Project schedule, progress of work completed. Hensman has completed work on building slab at elevation 70 and 72. Work on exterior walls has begun. Gravel subgrade residual basins has been completed and tested. Sand filter infiltration basin has been completed. A portion of the new access road has been installed. Primary electric has been moved to the new conduits. Work is performed by Rowley Light. Work has continued on grading, screening, moving earthwork materials around the site, and Kinsman has updated the project schedule. Update indicates the project is 2 weeks behind schedule. Proposed work activities this period. Jeannie spoke about the upcoming schedule for November. Continue work on exterior walls for tanks, completion around November 14th. Move to the interior walls once exterior is complete. Mobilize and install piping under the Mill River. And install water main up to pump station number 3, then to treatment plant site once Mill River crossing is complete. Submittal status, resubmittals for structural slab and slab on grade are forthcoming. Resubmittable for membrane filtration system will be done once discrepancies are worked out with the supplier as noted on the submittal review. There was conflicting information throughout the submittal. Outstanding items, Kinsman to work on color samples, windows, roof, louvers, casework, etc. Weston and Sampson will prepare a color board for Raleigh Water. I&C submittals are expected within the next couple of months. And Bill Nunnery discussed coordinating the different analyzers so there are not several different manufacturers installed at the treatment plant to standardize our equipment. Outstanding actions, permits, decisions, or approvals. Weston and Sampson drafted a letter on behalf of Raleigh Water requesting a time extension for the Mill River crossing to December 31st, 2012. The letter was signed by John Reza and John Sikora. Will drop off to Brent Bazelak at the Raleigh Concom this afternoon. All of that was back when this meeting took place. At this time, there is one outstanding request for information. Weston discussed RFI number 25 regarding the installation of chemical transfer pumps. Outstanding change orders, pending change order proposals. Change number 2 for utility company charges has been submitted to Kinsman. They will review and get back to Weston and Sampson. Change order number 3. Change order number 3 for river crossing has been reviewed by Kinsman. Kinsman has submitted a list of comments which are being reviewed by Weston and Sampson. Possible changes for future change orders are issuing a credit for leaving the old electrical conduits in place in the roadway. Kinsman to submit credit for review. Gene had mentioned there may be additional charges due to the change associated with the rebar for the trough and the trough itself. Safety temporary controls, Pingree Farm Road Trust, tree installation, maintenance of gravel road. 2 trees were installed, the gravel entrance road was repaired at the intersection of Pingree Farm Road and Haverhill Street. Certified payrolls, OSHA-10 pay requisitions. Certified payrolls, OSHA-10 pay estimates. Certified payrolls continue to be submitted and are not up to date. Subcontractor margin needs to resubmit certified payroll due to errors. Kinsman has continued to submit OSHA 10-hour training cards for certificates. Pay estimate number 5 was executed for work completed up to October 9th, 2012. Wage rate interviews will continue throughout the project. Wage rate interviews with margin will be performed through the next period. Whole business connection to existing water main. New water main connections were discussed at the meeting. Jason will meet with Kinsman and Weston to finalize these connections. The old connections will need to be abandoned with Kappa plugs so there are no cross connections left in place. Residual basins. Weston and Sampson has modified the residual basin design to accommodate a prefabricated trough drain. Gene has given the revision to his rebar supplier, and Ryan will send Gene information regarding the trough drain itself. New business comments. Gas company. Gene discussed concern with the proposed gas company work and wanted to make sure they adhere to specifications for compaction. Weston and Sampson will contact gas company to discuss what type of equipment and materials they are proposing to use and set up a site meeting once the invoice has been paid. Gas company will not discuss schedule until their invoice is paid in full.
Love that.
So, getting back to the river crossing, we changed the method of the river crossing from the pipe ramming technique to the directional bore. So now we have a credit back because we saved money by changing the method that we use to get the main across the Mill River, which is done at this point. So, they have submitted this change order with a credit of $83,000 to us. So we saved $83,000 in the river course.
What does that mean, John? Do we not have to borrow that now from the bond, or?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's reducing the bond, but at the end of the day, we have to see the other change orders.
So it could just
This
crop
is
up
change
again?
order
Right.
3. The first change order was rejected, and that was the $19,000 builder's risk insurance. It was paid on an invoice through the state, but they rejected it, so it had to come out of our maintenance line. And there's some talk about why we put it there. The state rejected it. It's part of the Kinsman contract. We had to pay it out of our maintenance line. So, but that's a change order for $19,000 that was,
Rejected.
right.
Partially the
And we have another change order right now. We're working on change order 2. We're kind of out of sync a little bit, but that one is, there's going to be some cost incurred with that.
So where does the 19,000 come from?
It comes out of our
Okay.
maintenance line.
So it comes out of our maintenance
Yeah,
line?
unforeseen.
Okay.
And there's also with the gas company come in,
Right. That's the
okay?
one we're working on now, the
Right.
gas
The
company.
gas company, I believe they allotted $50,000, and they come in at $88,000. So, to get the 4-inch gas main down there. So, if you have a $90,000 credit on the river crossing, okay, and that's gonna be a change order, if it's approved, okay,
That'll be an offset.
that'll be an offset.
Exactly.
So at the end of the project, when you have all these offsets, you have credits and then you have overages, they will all,
Hopefully balance out.
will hopefully balance out.
Well, we have to go
We'll
with
see,
a 4?
You know,
Yes.
I mean, it's a good thing,
Yeah,
it's a good thing that.
it's due to the demand for the standby generator.
Right, so that's, you know, you're gonna have this throughout the construction. You're gonna have some credits, and you're gonna have some items that come in, hopefully not many, over what we've allotted,
Right.
you know,
Well,
but,
just a quick question. Say on the gas, for example, if we have the Kinsman Construction bidding on the thing for a gas main, are they paying them, or are we gonna pay the gas company directly?
they
So,
pay.
It's paid through Kinsman, but when you look at the submittals to the state, there's a retainage of 5%, and then we pay over or under, depending, the state approves it or not. They're going to approve this. It will be part of the state revolving fund money. It will not come out of our
Right.
maintenance.
Right,
But we would pay Kinsman, no matter what, we pay Kinsman.
right, right.
And then we work out the details with the change orders.
Mhm.
So just because they put a number on it, they're not bound by it, because they can say, well, we don't,
Well, that got into all the
Cost us more.
sub-bid,
yeah.
and you need to really, there's a lot that went on
Yeah.
with this, and when those bids were, submitted and how they were procured.
Why not?
And what time period elapsed?
We're reading it, we're all reading it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's, how many pages, John?
Oh, yeah.
I'm still on volume 1 myself, but,
So this is typical.
This
If-
is very
if-
typical.
If a contractor puts a price on something, and his subcontractor is over, and he won't do it,
well,
especially
the
somebody-
RFP put a price on it, not the contractor. Kinsman bid on based on the information we provided in the RFP.
Right.
So it's not something Kinsman was, right, Kinsman didn't write the RFP.
But they put a number on it.
Well, they took our information
Yeah.
and assuming, that the gas main was gonna be so many feet, John, and
Right.
it's so
The
many
question
diameter,
of
and
where
that,
the closest connection.
And where the
gas
co-
main would
yeah.
be.
And it's not, I mean, it's, the contractor, Kinsman, isn't putting in the gas main. You're gonna have National Grid. They're the ones gonna be doing the work and putting it in.
Well, I'm just saying that, you know,
Yeah.
if I'm a contractor, I'm putting pricing together, I call up the gas company, so many linear feet.
That was in the RFP that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get a price, put it in there,
we had the
put your bid in.
price,
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the price is different.
exactly.
Well, you know,
And
once
then they
again,
get to walk away out and then,
that can be a function of time or materials, you know.
Did they get a cut or markup on that when they paid like that, or is it straight?
No, no.
No.
That's a direct bill, just like the Raleigh Light provides a direct bill to us.
Mhm.
Okay.
There's no markup to Kinsman, you know.
Hmm?
We didn't know that.
I think you had a beeper go off.
Yeah, a phone call or something.
Oh, here he comes. Is that it on the water treatment
So,
plant?
so a change order is acceptable
Oh, yeah, this
for
is
this
standard,
gas line.
Oh, we had one,
Yeah.
well number 5, we had a number of them.
yeah, this is standard.
There was one, that well number 5 was $188,000 change order.
Yep.
It happens.
I mean, it's just that we're at the beginning of the, you know, the beginning of construction. There's gonna probably be quite a few change orders.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's stuff too, like, and this may not be a factor now, but when they bid a job, they'll say, well, there's X amount of dollars per cubic yard or whatever for ledge. So they don't know what the fixed amount is of the ledge, but if they do encounter ledge in the job, then you're gonna get charged so much per cubic yard extra
So it's a unit
to
rate.
remove it. There's a unit rate, but it's an unknown quantity because you can't see it.
I understand something like that, but I don't understand the gas thing. I don't understand it. You had so many feet, they planned it out, Weston and Sampson planned it out, so many feet of 4-inch gas line going
And
from point A
possibly
to point
what
B.
the rates were for installation at that time, you know.
Yeah, but they got a price from somebody to put their bid in.
True. But if a certain amount of time elapses between
It's been like, what, 2
the
years?
estimation and the actual award of the bid, or the actual time that the contractor got prices to put his bid together, then that changes.
I thought that fell
Yeah, but
under the
that's
$3
something
million
different.
increase.
They had the go-ahead to
Well,
put
it's
their
like-
bids in, and it's like 3 months
It's
before,
like you said,
they put the bids in.
if you do a change, it's like we did the change for the river crossing. We saved $90,000, okay, which you get the credit. So if you have an expenditure that's gonna be an overage on it, and you're gonna put the change order in, the one will offset the other. And actually, with this change order, you still have a portion of it as, you know, credit this far
There's
far
more-
into it.
There's
This
more
far
buffer,
into
yeah.
it. There's a lot more, like I said, we're in the, just in the beginning of construction. And under one process, it saved 90 grand. So.
Right.
I'm
Yeah, but that was a change of methodology. Right. There's no change of methodology with putting the gas line in.
No, not with National Grid.
Anyways,
Anyways,
move on.
yeah, as a matter of fact, when something else I wanted to bring up is at the groundbreaking ceremony, we had, you remember the representatives from DEP that were there?
Yeah.
And from the SRF and the DEP, and at that time, I had a couple of gentlemen ask me solar power on the roof of the plant. And I had talked a little bit to them about, you know, solar power for the plant. And they were talking about the roof. So we did a little bit of investigating, a little bit of fact-finding in it, and, you know, solar power. And a little research and found out a little bit more, and don't want, you know, the roof area wouldn't be large enough to offset any of our costs or anywhere, but we do have a portion of property down in the back of Zone 1. I think it's 4 or 5 acres that would be a possible
Say,
site for solar panels. And, I just wanted a little discussion with the board of the feasibility of it. We did do a little research with, on it, and Senator Tarr has contacted us, and, a program through the state, and actually it would produce, what were we looking to produce, one megawatt?
To a meg.
That's what, we'd use about a half a meg a day.
At the just at the treatment.
Just at the treatment
Not
plant.
including all our facilities.
And with some, if we could set a system up that would
Through net
produce,
metering, yeah.
that would produce a meg a day, it would be an incredible savings to our budget on power, because we are the electric light department's biggest customer.
One of them.
One of them, yeah. And when the plant goes online, we are definitely going to be one of their major customers. So we had been looking a little bit into the solar power, and I just wanted to throw it to my board members to see if we would be interested in the feasibility of interested in venturing down this area, and to see if there's programs out there. There are some programs out there on grants for solar power. Be no cost to us. I would like to look into this. I do believe
There's no cost to it. It would make sense.
it was, well, I had been invited to to go into to the State House and talk to Senator Tarr on this, and see what their office, what his office has going for solar power. And I just wanted, before I did anything, I wanted to run it by my board
I think we
members
should check
to
it out.
see if you wanted to look into this
Well, what,
venture.
just go back, you talked to somebody at the ceremony.
At the groundbreaking ceremony,
So it
yes.
was the- it
This
was the-
this
it was
is
the-
backed by DEP.
Yeah, but it was the
Yeah.
SRF representative from the DEP.
There was,
No,
it was,
he's the head of DEP.
he's the head of DEP,
Yeah.
yeah.
So was the commissioner?
Yeah.
Okay, so the
He's
commissioner,
DEP is supporting water municipalities in the solar world.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Wood, our representative, has, good contacts if you want to go and look at other water departments that have solar. They want to be part of the talk or conversation if you're interested.
so is there any examples you can give us to see how?
Chelmsford has been running a solar system. Now, they're on National Grid, and we have Raleigh Electric. It's a very complicated process, and by no means do we understand it all. But Chelmsford has 3 treatment plants. They're pumping roughly 3 times more than we are a day. And they have a solar field that they actually got stimulus money for. They were lucky. And they have a 1 meg system on 30,000 square feet of property that is producing 53% of their power, electric power, they're getting out of the solar.
53%.
And then they have all these kinds of, through net metering, they can sell it back to their national grid, and then they get credits. There's all these solar credits, and the water municipality would get the credits for what they produce. And it's a very complicated process that we, just started making a draft on. It seems to be a good thing. There's other surrounding towns that are in negotiation right now, so they can't disclose what they're doing. But I've talked to a few of the surrounding towns that are definitely water municipalities that are getting into the solar. When I talked to the Department of Energy Resources, they sent me a beautiful packet, and I'll forward it on to you. It originally started out on landfills, and now it's moving away from the landfills and going into the water. feels, because the landfills are for recreational also. So there's a lot of competition for solar and ball fields. So a lot of towns had some, big decisions to make. And the water departments seem to be a better sauce because they're set back in the woods. They kind of do their own thing, and
It's backed by DEP.
well,
It's
because
backed
it's in zone 1, this
Right.
is not only, we would have to get our Raleigh Light Department involved, we would get our Conservation Department involved, but we also have to get a state involved because we're in zone 1. And so that's how DEP is involved. So we need to learn from them what the process is. But,
So I'm not sure what the process is, but.
well, I have some of it, but I don't want to go off in any world,
Right,
you know.
Right, we want to,
What about Weston and
Well,
Sampson?
this
Don't
is
they
what I
have
was-
Yes, Weston Sampson has provided us with some
This
information.
is why I wanted to ask the board. I wanted to get the board's view on this. Do we want to do this?
I think we
Do
gotta
we
check
want
into
to
it.
venture down this?
Oh, certainly.
I wanted to,
I think we ought to investigate it, because
Yeah.
it's 53% of
Yeah.
their power needs over in Chelmsford
Mhm.
are picked up with this solar system.
Mhm.
Now, the only thing is, what's the offsetting cost? What does it cost? Is there any bonding involved?
Well, no, because they got state revolving, they got the stimulus money, so there's
Right.
no,
Right.
but there are ways that we could work within our Raleigh municipal plant, there are ways, if we wanted, we can talk about that.
So
Private-public partnerships, these are decisions that would be involving the selectmen and our Raleigh Light Department along with the Board of Water Commissioners. By no means are we negotiating any contracts here.
No.
We're just looking into.
Oh, I know, but, so, the big picture, you have to get money to get this system in.
There is some
Right.
grant money I talked to, there is some grant money depending on what we want.
Chelmsford was lucky enough to get
They
a
were
free
really,
handout.
yeah.
Because they were shovel ready at the
Yeah.
time.
And
They were, as they called, shovel ready at the time, so they were able to get in under the stimulus money.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is it possible that we have any savings that we could come under our budget number for the plant, and maybe add on something like that, or?
Definitely. Now the state, that could be a conversation also as part of a change order. And that's why Weston Sampson is involved in the feasibility.
But I would like to go in and see, and talk to Senator Tar and see what it's all about, what's available, and to see how we would venture down this and what's involved with it. Because he's very knowledgeable, and he's very helpful, and he's behind this.
Well, I'm sure he'd be very helpful in the process,
Yeah.
if it was, something with the state and everything. Is there, can we
So,
get more information before we were talking about,
That's what we're
maybe
doing, it's
meeting
just-
with,
That's, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
bring
what
information, right.
part of it would
just,
be.
let's
going
get
to
like
the
a package
information.
together so we can get all the parties.
well, what
to
Senator
speed on
Tar was offering is a half-an-hour meet with selectmen, our Raleigh Light Department, and the Board of Water Commissioners to discuss the needs of Raleigh and what's good for the water ratepayers. He did steer me into the Division, of Energy, and that's where, you get involved with the state revolving fund, you get into grants, you get involved with DEP, and there's no package on that. I do have a brochure here, and I can make copies, I just haven't had time. Of 5 methods that the state is, 5 solar projects that they've worked on. Each town has to look at their needs and what's good for them, and what the risks are, what the permitting is, what the benefits are, the procurement of it is, what some different agreements that people look for funding. There's
Exactly,
5.
Is there,
I have not, because I wanted to bring it to my board,
I think I think,
is there anybody at
And
like
get a-
Weston and Sampson
and
that
get a-
could
Yes,
give
they-
us
But
this
they,
is how you do it, and this is what you should do, and all that stuff.
definitely,
They've
but
been
that's,
involved in
you know,
quite a few projects.
Sure.
Quite a lot of solar.
we could
projects.
bring Barbara Cook into a meeting after we meet with Senator Tar and, or you want, whatever the process
The
is.
thing
and-
is you know, if you're gonna go with, and bring an engineer in, it's a cost. They're
It's a
gonna-
cost.
Right, they're gonna want.
I think you ought to talk to somebody down at the light
You know,
department and get
So,
their,
I mean, you know, you bring an engineering firm in,
Light
and
department
it's gonna
will-
cost you, okay? And do you want a cost of bringing an engineering firm in prior to, I mean, you're gonna have to bring an engineering firm in down the road, yes. You don't wanna do it prior to, you know, having to.
Well, I'm not saying hire them, but they must have somebody on staff that can say, okay, we can give you a proposal to get this thing together.
well, what I'm saying is talk to somebody down the light department, get their take on it. And then go and see Tad, see what's out there for availability for the grants and the whole 9 yards, before we, you know, let's find out more about it.
Does the board want me would you like me as chairman to venture down this road?
I think so.
I think we should check it out. I mean, we don't need to hire an engineer
No,
now.
I
You
understand
know,
that.
let's talk to somebody at the light department,
Right.
talk some more to that, let's find out more about it.
Okay.
Where would the solar
I
panel
agree.
be placed, this thing? Where would the footprint of it be?
Yeah, we have some property up around around the plant.
How much cleared area do we have up there?
We have, what, a total of, 16 acres up there?
Well, yeah,
In
that's the
Station
total,
5?
that's the total well 5 site.
Right.
What about
And we have
the
a
field
portion-
over there?
There's a
That's-
section of that field that's probably 4 or 5.
For
acres
wood,
that's
yeah.
clear.
And all Chelmsford did was like almost just a little bit under an acre.
Right. And, well, what
Well-
we looked at is big enough for a MIG system.
A meg
So
system,
what-
1 meg.
Right, so that it would, working with the Raleigh Light Department, if they were interested, you know, we should, like Roy said, it's a team approach. You know, we're gonna look out for the Raleigh ratepayers in our usage, but anything we don't use, because the solar you don't shut off. It's a 7-day, if the sun is shining, it's running.
It's, right.
No, but I
And
mean,
we're
talk
not
to
there on
somebody.
the
You know
weekend.
who we might
You'd be on and off
contact?
the
There's
grid.
there's a gentleman that is in the area that's selling solar power panels or projects, and he knows how to finance the whole thing. His office is up just over the line in Seabrook. You know where Home Depot is?
Yep.
His office is directly across from there. He came and met with me. We talked about it. He says, all you have to do is come up with $1.5 million, Tim. And I said, geez, that's not bad.
Well, the way that,
But then you get a payout, you
Right.
get paid back
And the
over
board-
10 years. But
well,
you know,
the-
who's got $1.5 million?
the Raleigh, and I don't really, I can't speak to all of this is hypothetical.
Yeah.
Just some of the stuff I've heard from other surrounding